Hello and welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Aaron Porras, and coming up in today's newscast, Turkish President Erdogan says the Palestinians are happy about Israel-Turkey ties, but are they? Meanwhile, hundreds of doctors and healthcare workers on the verge of mass resignation. Can the crisis be averted? And later, Israeli athletes making tidal waves this week as several international competitions. Presidents Abbas and Erdogan meeting in Turkey on Tuesday for the first time since Ankara restoring full diplomatic ties with Jerusalem. And contrary to the Palestinians' reaction to every other normalization announcement, Erdogan is claiming that the PA is actually welcoming this move. But this giving further rise to speculations that both Erdogan and Abbas are currently walking a very fine political line. Founder and director of Palestinian Media Watch, Itamar Marcus, joins us with more. Itamar, it's great to have you back. So do the Palestinians actually welcome this deal? Why or why not?
Well, first of all, we have to try to understand what the deal is all about. And I have a rule that applies to everything that happens in the Middle East and around the world. If there's a country that's been your enemy for many years or for a number of years and all of a sudden decides to pretend or to say that they're your friend, try to find out what's really behind it. If we'll just jump from here to the Abraham Accords for a second, countries that for years wouldn't have relations with Israel, all of a sudden were all willing to. It had very little to do at the time with real care for Israel, but there was a common enemy, Iran, and that enemy made even becoming allied with Israel made sense to them. When you have a mutual existential threat, aligning with Israel is good. So what's happening here with Turkey now is Turkey, I think ideologically, they want to be a leader of the Muslim world. They want to extend themselves as much as they can, the territorially areas where the Kurds are. That's Turkey. And I think that was the policy toward Israel for the last number of years has been a true reflection of their hate of Israel and their non-recognition of Israel. Now, Turkey is in a major financial crisis. Turkey desperately needs Israeli tourism, which brought tens of thousands of Israelis to Turkey every year and brought in a lot of foreign money. Turkey is interested in having a gas pipeline that will bring them a lot of money. So all of a sudden, because of an economic crisis, Turkey is willing to make amends with Israel.
Well, so Itamar, I mean, I understand Turkey's intentions here or the benefits to Ankara, but what about to the Palestinian Authority? What changed from their perspective? Because from their point of view, they have blasted every other country, ally or enemy, that has normalized with Israel until now. So what's different?
What's different is the reaction they got from the other countries. The other countries blasted them back, and basically the Palestinians need those countries much more than those countries need Israel. Need the Palestinians. They never liked the Palestinians very much, and this gave all of them an excuse, for example, to stop giving funding to the Palestinian Authority. So the Palestinian Authority was burned by the last time they attacked countries that renewed relations with Israel or that initiated relations with Israel. This time they decided they would be more cautious and worry about Palestinian interests and swallow their pride and pretend that this isn't something that really, really irritates them, which I'm sure it really, really irritates them.
All right, so admittedly, the normalization with Turkey does come with a couple of perks for the Palestinian Authority. For one, Erdogan is still openly supporting the Palestinian cause, and there's now a pending flight agreement to allow Palestinians to use the Ramon airport near Eilat and fly to Turkey. Might the PA at least be closer to the fence on this one, or is this really just them protecting their interests?
The PA is protecting their interests. They'll get some benefits, but the Palestinian Authority for years has been known to push its ideology, its hate of Israel, its non-recognition of Israel. These are the things that makes it tick. These are the things that now, in addition to everything else that's pressuring the Palestinian Authority, is their major financial crisis right now, their unemployment crisis, Abbas's lack of popularity. I think when you have so little popularity at home, you're in no position to actually anger someone on the other side of the world, or Turkey, or a neighbor, a Muslim neighbor, who you need as a friend. So I think Palestinian Authority will take any Muslim Arab country now, or Arab country, as a friend, instead of being just isolated like they are at home.
All right, Itamar Marcus, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Now, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov bashing Jerusalem Tuesday evening for its continued strikes in Syria. But this as additional strikes carried out and not by Israel. During a conference in Syria, Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov staunchly condemning Israeli operations in the country, and this a week after Israeli airstrikes hit Iranian-linked targets near Russian military bases on the Syrian Mediterranean coast. We have strongly condemned Israel's dangerous practices of strikes on Syrian territory, including the very disturbing episode of the attack on Damascus International Airport on June 10, followed by attacks on the port of Tartus. We demand that Israel respect the resolution of the UN Security Council and, above all, respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Syrian Arab Republic. Then likewise, Lavrov and his Syrian counterpart warning against Turkish military action in Syria, as Turkey continues to launch drone strikes against alleged Kurdish rebels, and this despite Turkish attempts to reconcile ties with the Syrian Assad regime, which itself is vying for stable sovereignty. Unlike the comments on Turkey, however, Russia's rhetoric on Israel said to be reflective of the growing cracks in once warm relations between Jerusalem and Moscow. The initial fissures linked to Israel's support for Ukraine against Russia's ongoing invasion. Now, meantime, all this coming as yet another strike against Iran-linked targets in Syria reported, but this time, Israel is off the hook. The United States hitting a number of unnamed IRGC-affiliated facilities near Deir al-Zor. Military Central Command saying the attack meant to protect U.S. forces from Iran-backed groups some 2 weeks after an Iranian drone strike hit a Syrian opposition compound with backing from the U.S. But the attack also coinciding with ongoing JCPOA nuclear talks, which negotiating parties say is closer than ever to conclusion. Iran apparently dropping all of its previous hang-ups, including that the IRGC be removed from the United States' terror group listing and that the IAEA drop its probes on nuclear material found at undisclosed sites. Israel, on the other hand, still persisting that the deal be dropped altogether, with various officials making a last-minute dash over the last few days to speak with as many negotiating parties as possible. Now, the medical crisis in Israel is ongoing this week. Health workers beginning to tender their resignations in droves amidst stalled negotiations regarding shift length and other working conditions. Returning to discuss is Dr. Adina Lashansky, pediatric resident and member of Mirsham, the medical residents organization of Israel. Doctor, thank you very much for coming back to us. Now, last time we spoke, you said that the government was practically not negotiating at all and playing political games ahead of elections. Has anything changed in the past 3 weeks? Has any progress been made in talks?
There hasn't been any progress. And unfortunately, yesterday, the residing Prime Minister Yair Lapid even posted a public post on Facebook calling all residents to have a little bit more patience and to trust them that this crisis will be resolved shortly after the next election. But unfortunately, us residents, we have been fighting this struggle a lot longer than Yair Lapid has been Prime Minister, probably even longer than he's been in politics, since this crisis started really over 10 years ago when the shortening of the shift was first promised to residents. And since then, no progress has been made. And every single promise that the government has made has always been broken. So why should we wait now? If it's 3 more months or 5 more months, we don't know when a new government will arise. And this is the last chance of this government to actually do something and to stand behind the promise that it made and to help us shorten the insane shifts that we work between 4, sometimes 6, sometimes 8 times per month.
All right, well, Mirsham has collected nearly 300 resignation letters with hundreds more letters expected to arrive in the coming days. When is the deadline for negotiations after which Mirsham actually hands those letters in?
So the first lot of letters is going to be handed in tomorrow. And as we saw last time with the resignation, people get more courageous as time goes on.